I am the genuine heiress whom the wealthy patriarch has just acknowledged. Upon my return home, the false heiress wept profusely, apologizing and claiming she would relinquish her room to me. The drama of the genuine and false heiress vying for the affection of their parents and elder brothers is about to unfold, as narrated by my classmates. Meanwhile, I nonchalantly flaunted 2 buckets of milk and devoured 20 grease-laden fried eggs, casually responding, "Thank you for the invitation, but I must focus on my studies and have no time for such trivialities." The false heiress plotted against me, and my biological brother declared that he would only recognize her as a sister in this lifetime. I reassured him that it was of no consequence, as I lacked a mobile phone, and requested he procure one for me so that I could practice my English listening skills. While the false heiress endeavored to capture the affection of my wealthy parents, I remained indifferent, stating, "It matters little to me, I am hungry and lack funds for tuition. As long as my allowance is sufficient, that is all that matters." The false heiress boasted, "Jong-hee, you cannot compete with me, Mom and Dad are mine." I responded, expressionless, "Oh, take them all, I do not desire my biological father, mother, or brother. My sole ambition is to study, and study alone." 0. Upon hearing my words, Jong Mingyu momentarily froze, but swiftly adopted a demeanor of a delicate flower battered by rain. "Sister, did my tears make you uncomfortable? Please do not hold a grudge, I merely lost control. I apologize for occupying your place, Wah." I chose to ignore her and continued addressing Jong father and Jong mother, stating, "My academic performance is currently dismal, as I am in my first year of high school. If you have the means, please transfer me to Hungshan High School for intensive training. If there is nothing further, I shall return to my room to study." Jong father appeared astonished by my disregard, hesitating as he reached out. "Xiao-hee, you seeing this?" Jong mother began to weep. "Xiao-hee, we are your family." Jong Minji, meanwhile, wrapped his arm around Jong Mingyu and shouted at me, "You uncouth girl, without proper upbringing. This is my bank account number. If being your child comes with pocket money, please transfer a portion to me."
Thank you.
Unperturbed by Jiang Mingyu's sobs or Jiang father and mother's cries, I handed my bank card to Jiang father and requested that the maid in uniform escort me to the guest room. After having her bring me food and milk, I delved into the complexities of my physics textbook. I am indifferent to the Jiang family's dynamics or the nature of my biological parents. My singular focus is on attending university, striving to gain admission to the best institution possible. As someone of rather mediocre abilities, the only path available to me is to study diligently, with relentless determination, to achieve my goals. Later that evening, Jiang Mingyu confronted me with a fierce glare. "Jiang-hee, I underestimated you. I never anticipated this country bumpkin possessed such cunning. However, someone of your caliber is unworthy of being my rival. You will soon understand." Jiang Mingyu exuded arrogance, and just as footsteps approached outside the door, she yanked my hand and hurled herself violently to the ground. "Sister, Wah, sister, even if you despise me, how can you push me to the floor? I have a citywide violin competition tomorrow. Wah, sister, I apologize for taking your place, for seizing the love of Dad, Mom, and brother. I am truly sorry, Wah." Jiang Mingyu's loud lamentations and pleas for mercy were soon interrupted by Jiang Minji, who stormed in and forcefully shoved me to the ground, exclaiming, "Jiang-hee, how could you be so malicious? Your misfortunes are not Jiang Mingyu's doing, she is innocent." After unleashing his fury upon me, Jiang Minji swiftly moved to embrace Mingyu, gently asking Mingyu, "Are you alright? Where are you hurt?
Let me see."
"Wah, brother." Jiang Mingyu buried her head in Jiang Minji's embrace, her voice soft and helpless, akin to a small creature in distress. Jiang Minji cooed soothingly, "Do not worry, you have always been the one I cherished since childhood. You are my only sister in this lifetime. On this matter, I have no objections," I interjected, my voice firm and piercing. "You may choose to recognize Jiang Mingyu and disregard me." Jiang Minji, taken aback by my words, gazed at me with shock. "However, could you possibly buy me a mobile phone, set up a plan, and load it with 5 years' worth of credit? I am aware that you lavish more on Jiang Mingyu for a single gift than that." I fixed my earnest gaze upon Jiang Minji. "For a mobile phone, I will not compete with Jiang Mingyu. You may remain solely her brother." Jiang Minji appeared astounded, suddenly realizing something, and released Jiang Mingyu, his eyes fixed on me, glistening with unshed tears, his fingers trembling uncontrollably. This time, the tears in his eyes seemed to be for my sake. His scrutinizing gaze must have been a reflection of the resemblance in our brows and eyes. Yet, I remained unconcerned. All I desired was a mobile phone. I require a device with internet access to download English audio materials. My English listening skills have always eluded me. I consistently select option C on tests, and despite the 30-point questions, I can barely secure a stable 6 points. The teacher speaks too rapidly, and I struggle to concentrate, often failing to grasp the lessons, rendering my after-class review futile. This has become my most vexing dilemma. Of course, my classmates have mentioned that a mobile phone could also be used to search for math and physics tutorials, detailing problem-solving steps along with teacher explanations. I need that as well. Initially, I intended to inquire about the process for obtaining a mobile phone from the housekeeper the following day. However, I was too impatient since Jiang Minji was present. I decided to ask him directly. After all, they disdain me and do not wish for me to be part of their family. That is quite all right. I can remain outside their circle. All I require is a mobile phone. 02. The following morning, I awoke early and ventured into the kitchen, where I took a jug of milk and a plate piled high with approximately 12 fried eggs, alongside a substantial loaf of bread, and sat down to indulge in my meal. My biological parents were affluent, and at long last, I could afford milk and eggs, fried eggs adorned with oil, no less. I resolved to eat a hearty portion, for such nourishment would prevent me from feeling dizzy and unfocused in class, where I struggled to retain knowledge, often requiring multiple repetitions. I needed to satiate my hunger with these nutritious foods to invigorate my mind and strengthen my body. Just as I finished the last of the eggs, I heard Jiang Mingyu calling out, "Dad, Mom, I haven't seen you in the dining room. Why are you in the kitchen?" Upon turning around, I saw Jiang's mother leaning against Jiang's father, her mouth covered as she wept, tears streaming down her face. Jiang's father's eyes were red-rimmed, mirroring the gaze of Jiang Minji, filled with either remorse or sympathy. I felt no inclination to explain myself, nor did I seek their pity. I simply walked past them. I was in the first semester of my sophomore year, ranked among the bottom 50 out of 300 students, and I had no time for the melodrama of "you don't love me. I'm so sad. You must love me. I am your biological daughter," as recounted by my classmates. Wasting even a second with them would only further diminish my already precarious existence. Later that day, while I struggled to memorize my biology textbook in my room, John's father came to find me, presenting me with my bank card and a beautiful handbag. "I've deposited 1 million into your account, and I've taken out 100,000 in cash. You're still young, and it's not appropriate to handle too much money, so spend this first, and if you need more, just ask me." I smiled politely, bowed in gratitude, and replied, "All right, thank you, Dad." John's father hesitated, as if wanting to say more, before ultimately departing. I found it curious. Upon my arrival, it was this very person who had seemed to regard me with suspicion and hostility when Jiang Mingyu cried. How strange things had become. Jiang Minji also sought me out, presenting me with the latest smartphone, saying, "This is the newest model, with a phone card activated for unlimited data. It contains 100,000 worth of talk time, sufficient for years. I've also set up chat and payment applications with accounts ready for you, and there's 100,000 stored in the payment software." "Thank you," I said, feeling a surge of joy. "Rest assured, I will uphold my promise. I will never compete with Jiang Mingyu for your affection. Nor will I acknowledge you as my older brother." Jiang Minji's face flushed with anger, and he exclaimed, You, do as you please." With that, he stormed off as if his behind were ablaze. Truly, it was absurd. He told me not to recognize him, yet was displeased when I complied. Regardless, I had no time to engage in games with these affluent individuals. I needed to focus on my studies. I fumbled around and finally discovered the browser, a wondrous application, and began posing various questions while downloading a plethora of free learning and test preparation apps from the marketplace. "Hello, Xiaohe, my name is Wu Mingli, a graduate of Jinghua University. Your parents believe that you may be experiencing significant academic pressure, and since I performed well on my college entrance exams, they have asked me to share some insights and engage in dialogue with you." Mingli was candid, revealing that she was a psychological counselor, akin to a therapist. She noted that I had exhibited an obsessive attitude toward my studies since entering the household, leading them to suspect I might be suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Hence her presence to assess me. I was quite cooperative, for I hoped she could address my struggles with concentration in my studies. At the end of our conversation, I confessed, "I understand that I am not cheerful. I am quite obsessive, perhaps even moderately depressed and paranoid, as you suggested. However, please do not disclose this to them. And I refuse to take medication. There was an elderly woman in our village whose husband and son had passed away, and she became listless, crying and cutting her wrists. They said she was depressed, but after taking medication, she felt more spirited, yet found her mind dulled. I will not take medication. I want to attend university. Minli regarded me with gentle eyes, saying, There's no need for medication. It's perfectly alright to navigate through life while carrying a certain degree of repression and depression. We can endure while allowing sadness to flow through us. She then asked, Is there anything else you wish to inquire? I asked, What must I do to gain admission to a better university? Yes, my obsession was to attend university. Other desires and trifles could wait. My singular focus was on my education. In conclusion, Minli reassured me, suggesting that I could choose a rigorous environment like Hengshan High School. But I must allow myself room for gradual improvement. Be primal, like a wild creature. Permit your emotions to course through you, and then you shall walk slowly. I responded affirmatively. 03. Using my new phone, I ordered a plethora of practice papers from Hengshan High School on a shopping app, alongside bedding and toiletries for my accommodation, as well as some small loaves of bread and milk, preparing for my stay the following day. Just as I was getting organized, Jiang Mingyu sought me out once more. Jiang He, you play the role of the pitiful, depressed individual rather convincingly. Dressed in a sleek, glossy, pastel-hued robe that exuded luxury, much like a princess admonishing her maid. She stood with her arms crossed, casting a sidelong glance at me. But I am not like our parents and brother. I refuse to be deceived by a country bumpkin such as yourself. I replied, regardless of whether you believe me, I have no desire to compete with you. My 50-yuan cotton autumn attire is indeed soft and warm, and I purchased 3 complete sets. Jiang Mingyu's anger flared at my words as she approached, gripping the collar of my autumn shirt tightly, her voice low and menacing. Jiang He, how dare you claim you're not competing with me? You feign indifference toward our parents and brother, claiming to only desire a phone, desperately highlighting how miserable your past life has been. You're not competing with me. Yet you portray yourself as so pitiful, starving and shivering, that they can only concern themselves with you. You're not competing with me. Yet you wear that wretched fade that makes everyone in this family feel pity for you. Jiang He, how can you say you're not competing with me? Don't you realize that before you returned, I was their only treasure? Why did you have to come back? Jiang Mingyu clutched my collar fiercely, her teeth gritted, her eyes ablaze with hatred that seemed capable of killing me 1,000 times over. I slowly pried her fingers from my collar, meeting her gaze directly. But Jiang Mingyu, these are my father and mother, my brother, this is my family. It is you who should be destitute, stricken with illness without means for treatment, unable to sustain yourself, struggling to concentrate in class, a true country bumpkin. You. Jiang Mingyu's eyes were so filled with rage that they appeared ready to bleed. Then inexplicably she laughed. So you take pride in that, Jiang He? The affluent Jiang family desires a refined young lady, and we are all emotional beings. You have not lived a single day with our parents, while I have shared love with them for 16 years. Even if you are their biological daughter, their beloved daughter, do you truly believe they would choose you over me? Jiang Mingyu chuckled lightly. Jiang He, I am Mingyu, while you are merely grass. They will never choose you. Do you understand? Jiang Mingyu, I genuinely do not wish to compete with you. I care only about attending university, nothing else matters, okay? Let us leave it at that. My time for vocabulary study has arrived. Please step out, and do not disrupt my learning. I've already been affected for 10 minutes. I cannot ascertain how many words I've lost. I gently pushed Jiang Mingyu out of my space. She scoffed, Jiang He, you cannot outdo me. I will ensure you recognize your place. Father, mother, and brother will always love me more. I disregarded her remarks and began my study. Abandon. 04, Mom. Wouldn't the pressure be even greater for my sister if she were to attend Hengshan High School, given her current academic struggles? Perhaps it would be better for her to come to Diao High School, where I can look after her in case of any issues. Moreover, I contemplated that if my sister's academic performance were to falter, attending a prestigious institution like Diao High School would afford her additional opportunities, enabling her to pursue her interests and cultivate valuable connections, thus preserving a pathway for her future overseas studies. Wouldn't you agree? The following day, after breakfast, as my parents prepared to escort me to school, Jiang Mingyu suddenly clung to my mother's hand, seeking affection. She then turned to my father and asked, Dad, do you think I'm making sense? Yesterday, I was so worried about my sister attending Hengzhong that I couldn't sleep a wink. Old Jiang. I must admit I hadn't considered this before. Upon hearing this, my mother cast a glance at my father and then grasped Jiang Mingyu's hand, proclaiming, I knew it. Our Mingyu is such a good child, always caring for her sister. Little he's psychological state is indeed concerning. She is overly fixated on her studies and under immense pressure. Such intense academic demands could prove detrimental. The last time, the psychologist advised that little he could no longer endure strong stimuli. Jiang father and Jiang mother conferred briefly before instructing their secretary, Kane. Please make arrangements for little he's admission to Diao in advance. My wife, and I will take Mingyu and little he there shortly. Are you not going to consider my opinion? When one is left speechless, a smile often escapes. They clearly have the power to arrange my schooling as I wish. Yet with one instigation from Jiang Mingyu, they deliberated among themselves without regard for my voice. I am a grown individual standing right before them. Sister, our intentions are solely for your benefit. If your mental state deteriorates under intense academic pressure, we won't be able to care for you at all. Furthermore, Diao is an elite high school with a flexible curriculum, exceptional teachers, and numerous options. If you aspire to excel in the college entrance examination, the school has specialized instructors to guide you. Many subjects are directly aligned with foreign universities, making future studies abroad much more convenient. Before Jiang father and Jiang mother, Jiang Mingyu resembled a beautiful doll radiating innocence and boundless kindness, a veritable little princess, utterly charming. Little he, Mingyu is correct. Simply follow our arrangements, and we shall not lead you astray. Jiang father spoke gently. I retorted, I wish to attend Hengshan High School. I glared at them coldly. Sister, perhaps growing up in a small town has limited your perspective. Diao truly is the superior choice. I assure you, neither dad nor mom is deceiving you, Jiang Mingyu said, her voice trembling as she continued, Sister, I'm truly sorry. My intentions are purely for your good. It's all my fault. Jiang father turned his gaze toward me, his eyes reflecting unmistakable impatience. It has been stated that your outlook is narrow. We and Mingyu have encountered far more than you. We will not harm you. Get in the car. Old Jiang, the child has just returned. She knows nothing of this. What are you doing? My mother interjected, sensing the shift in Jiang father's tone towards me. She gently reassured me, Little he, your father, and I would never harm you. An elite high school is far better for you than a public one. You will understand once you attend. Please just give it a try, all right? In the end, I got into the car, a spacious, luxurious vehicle resembling a small bus. I positioned myself in the middle seat, yet Jiang Mingyu was encircled by Jiang father and Jiang mother, engaged in trivial chatter. You are our beloved daughter. Your character is exceptional, and we are fully aware of your remarkable qualities. Your good intentions toward little he are commendable. You have done nothing wrong. How about a weekend outing for our precious daughter to enjoy her favorite Japanese cuisine? Last time, didn't you mention your fondness for that White House? Dad will make sure it's delivered to you soon. Don't forget, Mom wants one too. They reveled in familial bliss while I concealed the answers, desperately trying to determine which direction to draw the auxiliary lines. After completing the formalities in the principal's office, Jiang father and Jiang mother departed. I told you, you cannot compete with me, Jiang Mingyu declared triumphantly, releasing my arm as soon as our parents left. Enjoy your life of cold shoulders and ostracism, you worthless bottom feeder. I chose to ignore her. The reason I did not fiercely resist attending Diao was due to a former psychological counselor named Meng Li, who had once advised me that if I struggled academically, I might consider pursuing sports instead. Moreover, elite high schools possess the resources to support such endeavors. I am resilient, after all. I have toiled extensively in agriculture and built my strength. Perhaps athletics could serve as my breakthrough, akin to Jiang Mingyu's violin. Indeed, as someone barely capable of uttering 2 sentences in English, with a rural accent reminiscent of curry, or as a student who, after 3 explanations from a teacher, still could not comprehend, I found myself failing to score above 50 despite studying relentlessly during breaks and at home, leaving me isolated without a single peer to play with. Yet, how could they know I was not distressed by the lack of companionship? I was quite content. After all, friendships require time to nurture, and my studies left me no spare time, thus making my ostracism a blessing in disguise. I opted for long-distance running, recalling how I would awaken at 5 in the morning to sprint for 2.5 hours over a mountain to reach the local primary school. My speed and endurance flourished, having trained this way for 9 years. I also took up volleyball, as my daily labor of chopping and carrying wood had endowed me with considerable strength. One advantage of attending an elite high school is that if I express an interest, even if the school currently lacks a specialized teacher, they will promptly seek one out. Each morning and evening, I consumed a large can of milk and a hearty plate of fried eggs. While my midday meals were substantial and rich, allowing me to train diligently in long-distance running. Following my teacher's advice, I began consuming beef and chicken daily, despite the occasional strain on my digestive system. Yet, I knew I had to nourish my body to grow strong. Jiang Mingyu remained the center of attention, while I, in my own perception, felt no less significant. Akin to a red mushroom thriving in a damp, shadowy space beneath the foliage, continuously growing. I became increasingly sun-kissed, with muscles becoming more pronounced. Although my academic scores had risen to the second-tier university threshold and my English improved from a mere 9 points to 90, according to Jiang Mingyu, I remained far from reaching her level. Each time I returned to the Jiang household, I could invariably hear Jiang Mingyu charmingly addressing Jiang father and Jiang mother or Jiang Minji, saying, "Mom, my sister has become dark and strong from running and playing volleyball. Let us take her to the spa next time." Dad, my classmates mentioned my sister could use some improvement in her etiquette, suggesting she lacks any grace. Should we hire a good etiquette teacher to train her? Brother, my sister studies alone and has no friends. Let us take her to social gatherings for some fun. Jiang Mingyu relished in playing the benefactor, yet I truly had no time to indulge her. I am not without temper or means. If I assert my refusal, then no one can drag me along, especially not Jiang father and Jiang mother, who owe me so much, nor my brother, who has long severed ties with me. Each time they insisted, I would retaliate fiercely, refusing to attend. Over time, this became Jiang Mingyu's project to showcase her love and kindness. Boring. Now, my physique has greatly improved, my long-distance running results are commendable, and my mind has become noticeably sharper, nourished by various supplements and nutritious foods, significantly enhancing my capacity to absorb knowledge. However, I must rise even earlier, run faster, and improve my English and mathematics. Only then can I secure admission to a top-tier university. When the college entrance examination scores were released, the benchmark was set at 525, and with my physical examination results, I calculated my total score to be 540. During the college application process, Jiang father, Jiang mother, and Jiang Minji reappeared. Jiang father remarked, "Although your score pales in comparison to Mingyu's, it is sufficient for studying abroad. Why would you consider enrolling in a second-tier medical school? If all else fails, you must apply to first-tier institutions." Mother Jiang remarked, "If you wish to pursue medicine, I shall ask your father to find you a prestigious university abroad. Let us determine whether it be a preparatory course or something else, but we shall ensure you receive a quality education." Jiang Minji interjected, "Our parents possess far greater wisdom than you do. Heed our advice regarding your university applications, and you shall avoid many missteps. Indeed, dear sister, our family is affluent. Let us enroll in a distinguished university with an excellent program." Jiang Mingyu feigned politeness, a behavior quite customary for her. "Do you require me to inherit the family business?" I inquired. "Xiaohe, what do you mean?" Mother Jiang murmured softly. With a sardonic smile, I retorted coldly, "If you do not wish for me to inherit the family legacy, then my choice of studies should not concern you. My academic performance and future are mine to govern. Your knowledge from the teachers is inconsequential. I shall not alter my decision. I shall assume responsibility for myself. I harbor no desire for your possessions, nor do I need you to cushion my fall, so there is no need for your worry." I continued, "What I mean is, do not interfere with my choices. I shall not permit it. Do not be ungrateful." Jiang Minji exclaimed in alarm. "How can you say you do not need your parents to support you, Xiaohe? We are your mother and father." Mother Jiang, prone to tears, began to cry once more. "Support?" I chuckled. "There are 4 seasons in a year. Spring brings much rain, and the mountains are often muddy, where a slip can lead to a fall. Winter is bitterly cold, and my trousers never cover my ankles. Even when they do, it is of no use, as my shoes are oversized and worn, the once plush lining now long gone, leaving them hard and ineffective against the wind. Would you care to guess how many times I have tumbled into unknown crevices, how often I have narrowly escaped the jaws of bears and snakes, yearning for assistance? Yet, none came. I have had to rely solely on myself. Support? I continued upon returning home. Did you ever hire a tutor for me? Have you observed my homework habits? Do you even care about my academic achievements? Are you aware that I run long distances for the sake of the college entrance examination? And have you ever bought me a new pair of running shoes to replace the worn-out ones? You merely perceive me as someone unworthy of the spotlight. Do you understand why I rush when it comes to food? Why I consume vast quantities of milk and eggs, particularly those rich in oil? Do you understand? I had been living with the Jiang family for 2.5 years, yet has anyone ever inquired about my past life or the hardships I endured? Had you ever contemplated my needs without me asking? Support? I laughed. Father, mother, let us set that aside for now. Since I have been accepted into university, I shall move out henceforth. If you only love your son and daughter, whom you have cherished for so many years, and your sister whom you have doted upon, then continue to do so. I have no objections. You provided for my education, allowing me to study without financial worry, and I have been accepted into university. That is already commendable. I consider you worthy of that title. However, you have failed to fulfill the responsibilities of a parent, so do not expect me to obey you as a child would. Having finally expressed all my thoughts in one breath, I sipped another mouthful of cherry juice and added, "The money I have spent of yours over the years, I shall repay you in due time. Rest assured." 07. I paid no heed to their words. After submitting my university applications, I returned my card to Father Jiang and promptly moved out to take on summer work. Subsequently, I severed all ties with the Jiang family and devoted myself to diligent study. I pursued an undergraduate degree at a second-tier university, majoring in clinical medicine with a minor in dentistry. I then attained a master's degree from a lower-tier 211 university, specializing in clinical medicine and researching Alzheimer's disease. Finally, I earned a doctorate from a prestigious 985 university, continuing my research on Alzheimer's. Ultimately, I discovered the first cure for Alzheimer's disease of this century through a minor surgical procedure that activates a specific nerve to release certain factors. Soon after, I developed affordable dentures and low-cost traditional medicine to alleviate Alzheimer's symptoms without surgery. The day I received the Nobel Prize in Medicine for my research and stood upon the highest podium, I felt a taut nerve within me finally release its tension. As I delivered my acceptance speech, I could not contain my tears. My first words were, "I do not envy those who are blessed with the selfless love of parents, siblings, or other relatives, not in the slightest. For I too once possessed such a cherished bond with my grandmother. I choked back my emotions, when she adopted me, was already 60 years old. From the time I can remember, around 3 or 4 years old, she would lean on a cane, walking slowly, barely able to carry even a half basket of firewood, struggling to tend to the vegetable garden, her back bent for hours on end. Yet she chose to adopt me. Each day, she would say to me, 'You must study. Only through education can you succeed, to provide for the education of someone without blood ties.' She sold the gold tooth her son had made for her, parting with her cherished dowry, and even in her frail state, she toiled in the fields. Yet, she bestowed upon me all her love, never allowing me to feel like a burden. She would offer me the tenderest greens, sing me songs whose melodies I could not decipher, and stand before the village head for hours just to ensure I could enroll in school. I promised, 'Grandma, one day I shall provide you with the finest teeth,' she replied. 'You must study diligently. Only through education can you succeed, and with success, you can give Grandma the best teeth.' Later, my grandmother succumbed to dementia, known as Alzheimer's disease. Her memories would flicker between clarity and confusion until, eventually, she could remember nothing at all, her lips murmuring, 'You must study. Only through education can you succeed. Grandma will ensure you can study. You must study.' When I entered junior high, my grandmother departed from this world. For all these years, it has been the pursuit of education that has sustained me. I must study. No matter the circumstances, I must study. Now, I smile, gazing toward the horizon. Grandma, I have succeeded. I have enabled all those without means to obtain affordable yet quality dentures, and I have cured your Alzheimer's disease. Grandma, can you see me?" After I shouted that, I felt a certain shackle within me fall to the ground. It was as if my grandmother was saying, "You are remarkable. Grandma is proud of you. Yet, he must continue on, to lead a good life." The names of the dentures I developed, the medication to alleviate Alzheimer's symptoms, and the surgical method to cure Alzheimer's were all named in honor of Grandma Zhao Qiuxiu. After Father Jiang, Mother Jiang, and Jiang Minji witnessed my speech on television, they sought me out. "We're sorry, it was your father and mother who neglected you," said Father and Mother Jiang. Jiang Minji also expressed, "Jiang, I apologize." I smiled. It is all right. Perhaps familial bonds are predestined. Having met my grandmother, I feel that I have received my due. I then instinctively tuned out their words and turned to leave. Because I was so deeply loved by my grandmother, I knew from the first glance that they did not love me. Fortunately, I have only loved my grandmother. Later, I heard that Jiang Mingyu had a moment of introspection and confided her grievances about me to Father Jiang, Mother Jiang, and Jiang Minji. Yet they bore her no ill will. The 4 of them seemed to feel guilty for not having given me enough love and care. "Oh, It is of no consequence. After all, I have loved only my grandmother. The end. Thank you for listening. We shall meet again in the next story.